People were unclear really how to play it. Do you buy the dollar because it trades as a haven, or do you sell the dollar because we're talking about the potential for US default? The reality is, I think a lot of investors expected the deal to go through, but had also expected that equity markets would need to issue a wake-up call to Congress to get it done. So the fact that we didn't have a lot of drama meant that we never really had that volatility in FX markets.
Yeah, so it's back to data watching again, essentially NFPs today. There was some talk the last couple of sessions from various Fed speakers that a pause wouldn't necessarily mean a stop in the hiking cycle. As an FX analyst, how do you read that, and what does it mean for the trajectory of the dollar if the Fed decide to pause but then continue with the hiking cycle at later meetings?
Well, it's interesting, right, because we know the Fed doesn't like to surprise, and it felt like we had a concerted effort from a number of officials this week to tamp down expectations of a June hike before we head into the blackout period. And I think that in itself makes us expect that today's NFP number is less likely to be a huge blockbuster that would put June really on the table. In terms of what it means going forward for the rate cycle, I think had they gone ahead in June, naturally markets would have built in some risk of a July hike to follow. The fact that we're now priced more for a June pause means July is not even fully priced at the moment, and for a dollar perspective, that's not as good.
What is positioning like in the US dollar? We've been talking about the pullback in the first couple of months of the year, but are people actually positioned for a weaker dollar at this point?
Yeah, I don't think positioning is as crowded as it was a few weeks ago. And I think certainly people have been caught out by the strength of the dollar in some key areas. I mean, dollar yen is a key one where everybody thought, well, almost everybody thought it was going to go down. And we're actually now sitting just shy of our year-end target, which was 140.
Well, I remember you came on the show a couple of months ago and you said you warned that dollar yen was one of the most crowded positions. So you got it. I've got to give you credit. You absolutely nailed that one. Where do you think dollar yen heads from here?
And I think the difficulty is now that we're in a little bit of no man's land, because we've seen the repricing of the forward curve in the US. And so we're not priced for the 100 beeps of cuts in the back half of the year, which looked excessive. But at the same time, we do have signs of data slowing. So I think people are reluctant to take big positions, and that's following through in lower volumes, less activity, and just people looking at carry trades when all else is stable.
And on the dollar yen, though, you said we're kind of at your year-end target. So you think we stay around these levels, around 140? There's no trade to be done either way?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard the Bank of Japan and Ministry of Finance, they had a meeting the other day beginning to make noises about weakness in the yen. That doesn't mean intervention is imminent, but it certainly means they'd like to kind of slow down the pace of decline.